Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm talking about getting engaged. So 3 weeks ago I got engaged and I was just gonna pop on, announce it, kind of explain what went down, how it happened, and how I've been planning. Thought that could be fun. So if you're new here, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and let's get into it. Like I said, it was about 3 weeks ago. I think it'll be 3 weeks tomorrow because it happened on a Tuesday and tomorrow's Tuesday. So yeah, it happened about 3 weeks ago. We went to Maymont Park. I'm also going to be putting a ton of pictures, video, whatever I have to like go along with what I'm talking about. So we went to a place called Maymont Park, so I'm gonna insert some Maymont Park pictures, and we were just like chilling. I wanted to go to Maymont Park specifically because in my consulting class last semester I did this big project for this foundation. I guess I can't talk too much about it because I did sign an NDA. So I did a project on a foundation, and basically our job was to suggest what they should do with their land, and my group suggested that they change it or turn it into a wedding venue. So we suggested that they make it look like Maymont Park. So Maymont Park has animals, it has like a bunch of gardens, people get married there, they have a mansion because it was originally somebody's house like in the 1600s or something. But yeah, so I wanted to go because it was my group's suggestion, and I had been there once before, but all I had ever seen were the animals. I never got to see any of the gardens, and I didn't stay that long last time I went because it was rainy. Besides the point, I really wanted to go. So we went. I wasn't really expecting much of it. I was just like excited to go see Maymont Park, to be honest. So we were going around, we were looking at the animals, just like casually having a good time, and then we get back to the part where all the gardens are, and I'll put pictures of the gardens, but that was like what I was there for. Like I really wanted to see the gardens because it was literally my suggestion to like make the project that I worked on into kind of like the gardens. So we're walking around, and my then boyfriend was like walking so fast. He kept getting on his phone. He kept walking around. He's like not a big texter. He's never really on his phone. Like the most he does is watch a YouTube video. So I was like, who are you texting? And he said that he was just texting one of his friends, but he had just seen one of his friends because he had helped that friend that morning move like some furniture and take it to the dump. So I was like, why are you texting? And like I still wasn't really thinking much of it, but he was walking so fast, and I was like trying to see the gardens, and I was just, you know, looking around. First we went to the Japanese garden, which I was most excited about because it has this big waterfall and a bridge, but there were a lot of people there, so we kind of just like moved on quickly. And so we go up to the Italian garden, and I'll insert pictures of like some of the steps. So first there were steps that I don't have pictures of, but it actually goes behind the Japanese garden. So we go up these like really narrow steps, and then you get to a little platform, and then you go up another huge set of steps. And then the Italian garden is probably like 200-ish feet long. So we're at the opposite end, at the top of the steps, and basically the garden is like on the other side, the garden where the waterfall or water fountain and like cool stuff is. So he's still sprinting. I'm literally getting so mad at this point because I'm like sweating, I'm out of breath. Like it wasn't a super hot day, but we were going so fast, and I am a short person. I cannot move that quickly. So I was getting annoyed, but we just kept like going, and finally we got up there, and I like caught my breath for a second, and I was just looking around, taking it all in. And I see this guy who's at like kind of the edge of the garden, kind of where we're going towards. I was like, why are we going near this guy? Like he was wearing all black, which was odd. He was wearing like black hat, black mask. It was outdoors, and we don't have to wear masks outdoors, and nobody was wearing them. So I was like, kind of odd. But you know, no shame if you want to wear a mask outdoors. I just thought it was weird because it was outside and it was kind of warm. I was wearing like black shirt and dark jeans. And I was like, okay, sketchy. Like, are you in the FBI? What's going on? And I saw him just taking pictures, but the area he was taking pictures of, it wasn't anything. It was just like it was like the hill part that we came up the stairs, but on either side were like hills. And he was just taking pictures of the hills, which was odd. And I just remember thinking it was odd. And then the proposal happened. I sobbed, blacked out a little bit. If anyone's ever told you that you're gonna remember anything that happens, like, you're not gonna remember a thing, because I completely blacked out. Don't know what was said to me. I didn't even look at the ring. I was just sobbing. And then, so the reason that the guy in the corner is important is because he turned around and started taking pictures. And I was like, that's pretty weird, but that's gonna be cool that we have some pictures of this. Turns out the person was a friend of ours. I did not recognize him at all. And he had my camera. So I guess that morning when they were doing the like dumpster thing, he was given my camera. My camera was stolen from me is what I'm saying. And he was there to take pictures. So that's why there was so much texting going on. And I guess they were both running around. So they were trying to make me not see the one who was taking the pictures. So that's why we were moving and grooving. But yeah, so that was the proposal. I'm sure I'll have inserted pictures as I spoke, because there was a ton. There are a lot of ugly ones because I was ugly crying. And I can insert this fun little video I took of my ring because I'm obsessed with this ring. It's literally my dream. I'm gonna show you guys. So as you can see here, maybe all like oval. And it's just funny because when I was like, I don't know, in high school, I really wanted like a square diamond, and it's just funny how I've changed as an adult. Anyway, so that's the proposal. Hopefully the pictures will make it sound more interesting, or make the story seem more interesting. But so that was 3 weeks ago, and I like instantly went into wedding planning mode because he proposed a few days after my last day of classes. And if I haven't said this already in a video, my internship got moved up a week. So instead of having a full month off of school, I only ended up having 3 weeks because I start tomorrow. 3 weeks in a couple days, we'll say. But I was trying to get like some of the big stuff out of the way before I started working, because my job's remote, and knowing myself, I do too much, and I'll like do stuff until I'll do stuff past when I should be, or I'll get up too early and do stuff like I need to work on my, not time management, it's just like I need to learn when to turn it off. And I think that this internship will be better because they really have me on track with like, okay, this is not about my internship. Anywho, I didn't know what my schedule was gonna be like, so I didn't want to have to try and coordinate my schedule with his schedule and us tour venues. So I was like, well, why don't we do like the venue touring now and pick a venue, and then that's probably like one of the biggest things we'll have to do. So we spent the last 3 weeks I spent the last 3 weeks searching. So I think I've said this before, I live in Richmond, Virginia, outside of Richmond, Virginia. I live about 20 minutes from the actual city, and we wanted to get married somewhere in the Richmond or greater Richmond area just to make it more convenient for friends and family. So we figured being close to home was like our best option. So there's this list, and I can't remember where I found it. It was like richmondweddings.com or something, and it had like 100+ venues on there, and it was places that I didn't even think of. So I just spent like hours every single night going through every venue. We were very specific on what we wanted. So I personally didn't want an outdoor ceremony. I wanted the ceremony and the reception to be indoors because of, you know, weather and stuff. So that was a thing. We wanted to be able to provide our own alcohol. We wanted to be able to pick our own caterer. And it had to have enough room for at least 120 to 150 people, plus room for like dancing and stuff. So, I mean, I don't think those are like super unreasonable demands, but it's surprising how hard it was to find. It's like if one venue allowed you to bring your own alcohol, they wouldn't let you bring your own food. And the caveat to that is like, venues who provide the food for you is really expensive. I couldn't find a venue that would provide food for less than $80 a person. And if you want to do the math on that, it's very expensive. It's like $10,000 to $12,000 for food, not including drinks, or, you know. So it was like 80 bucks, 80 to 100 a person, plus an extra 10 to 30 per person for alcohol. So that was just like, we're not spending that much money on food. It just wasn't gonna happen. So like I said, those were like kind of our restrictions, not restrictions, whatever. That's what we wanted. So the list was awesome because it let you know whether or not they provided a caterer. It said how many people they had, it had pricing. Also we obviously had a budget. And I feel like nobody really talks numbers when it comes to weddings, and I'm not a super rich person, so I feel like I can say like what my budget is, and I don't think hopefully it won't sound ridiculous, but our venue budget was no more than $5,000, and we actually ended up going under that like pretty significantly, which is good. So yeah, and I'm sure if I like talk about where I'm getting married, like people can look it up. So I'm just like, why not say numbers, you know? Who cares? So yeah, we were just trying to stay under that 5,000 limit. We were able to get like really significantly under that. So I made this big comprehensive list of all of the venues that I liked. I actually started making the list before we had like we knew about the like catering restrictions that we wanted, because we didn't realize how much provided catering would be. So I had about 18 venues on the list, and I had to cut almost half of those because I didn't realize the first few that I added didn't let us have our own catering. So by the time I cut the list, looked over them again, looked through pricing, saw what was doable and what wasn't, I only had 6 venues. So we went and toured the venues for a couple of days. We spent like 2 days touring all of the venues, and one of them we actually ended up not touring because it was about an hour away from us. So it was like, why have everybody commute and travel to this wedding in the middle of nowhere? Because it was in the middle of nowhere. So we figured, why have everyone commute and do this when we could just do it in Richmond? Like, we have venues in Richmond. So venue number 1 was the Science Museum of Virginia, and like I said, pictures. It was beautiful. There were 2 different spaces that we could have had the reception. So the pros, it was really pretty, really unique. It was in budget. We could do our own catering and our own alcohol with a fee, which kind of sucked because the fee made it pretty high on the high end of our budget, but still doable. And the cons were we couldn't start the wedding until 5 p.m. And just to explain what that means, the venue is only open until 11. So if you think about it this way, you start the ceremony at, they say 5, but they really mean like 5:36, because it's a museum, it's open to the public. So they really mean like 5:30 or 6. So let's say 5:30. The ceremony is going to be about 30 minutes. So then you're at 6. You have to take pictures and have a cocktail hour. So then that's pushing you to 7. And then you have to do all of the BS. You know, you have to do the dances, you have to do the speeches, you have to sorry, my camera cut me off, but I was talking about how you also have to do the food, and that then pushes you like another hour to 2. So then you're realistically only having a reception from 9 to 11. So why am I paying full price for the reception venue, like ceremony reception venue, quote unquote, for, I mean, I'm paying a lot of money for 6 hours of time. You're paying full price for a DJ, a day of coordinator. I mean, just all the little things. And like, ooh, it's just, it was a lot of money for not that much time. So the first venue space that they showed us, it was called the Rotunda, insert photo here, that was $4,000. And then with the fees for bringing in your own caterer, it made it like $4,200, which was just like a lot for not a lot of time, because a lot of venues offer you the place for the whole day starting at like 8 or 9 a.m. Like usually they give you like 10, 12, or 15 hours depending on what you want. So yeah, it just wasn't ideal. We weren't gonna have the space to ourselves the whole day. Like, he said that there were rooms that we could like get ready in and stuff, but I don't know, I just didn't feel comfortable with there being people there in the museum. So it just seemed kind of weird. And then there was the second space, insert photo here, called the Dewey Gottwald or Got something Center. And I really liked that. That was the space we would have probably picked. I think it was $3,200, but with the fees, it would have brought it up to almost $4,000. And then it also had an outdoor space, which was nice because we were thinking about putting like games out there or setting up a second bar out there. And it was just a really big space that we could kind of make our own. And it was nice. I really liked it. I think we probably would have picked that with the intention of maybe having the ceremony elsewhere and then having the reception start immediately at 5 at the venue. So that's just what we were thinking. It just would have been an extra cost because in the research, I only did a little bit of research, but in what I saw, we couldn't find anything. Like, churches are a freaking business, apparently. Like, who knew? I didn't know churches wanted to profit so much. But I mean, they were charging like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 just to rent a church for like an hour. It was nuts. So go off, I guess, churches, but I see what you're doing. Venue number 2. What was venue number 2? Oh, okay. We went to this place called the Montpelier Center, and it was basically this like arts and dance center where it was converted from an elementary school to like this just art dance studio kind of thing. And their big room, I mean, it was nice. It was just and it was the cheapest of all of them. It was like probably half the price of all of the other ones that we looked at, but it needed a lot of work, and the like getting ready spaces were like awful. They offered, I think they offered the space to us for 12 hours and it was open until midnight, which was pretty nice, but it would have been, I think, more of a hassle to have it there just because it needed so much work, and also we couldn't have an indoor ceremony. Their outdoor space was really nice. Like, I wouldn't have hated doing the ceremony out there. It's just, I just don't love the idea of an outdoor ceremony. And their indoor option couldn't accompany all of our guests. So it's like, okay, well, do the first 100 people get to sit and everybody else has to like stand at the door? So they didn't really have a good indoor space to accompany if the weather was bad. Venue number 3 was the women's club, and it was really cool. It was a little out of budget. It was over $6,000. So definitely out of budget. It kind of sucks because like women's club members get it for half price. So that would have been nice. And we were like, maybe I can just become a member, because it was cheaper. It would have been cheaper for me to like become a member and then get the half off price than it would have been to pay full price. Because like the membership I think was like $800. So like $3,800 for the whole thing. But it was like a process to become a member, and it seemed shady on my part. So I mean, it was still a consideration. It was very, very nice. The getting ready spaces were nice. It was just very old school. Like, it was like a 1800s home that was converted into this women's club, and I'm not really sure what they do. I wonder if it's like a cult or something. I don't know. I didn't ask any questions. But very, very old school, like Victorian era. And you'll see in the pictures, like, just old and not my style. So venue number 4 was Main Street Station, and I will say Main Street Station is and has been my dream wedding venue for years. Ever since I saw Main Street Station, I always dreamed of getting married there, and honestly I didn't think it was an option just because all the pricing online, it was from 2019 and 2020, but I didn't expect it to be any different for 2021. So basically it was like you rented it for 4, 5, or 6 hours. 4 hours was like $3,900, 5 hours was $4,100, and 6 hours was $4,500. And I was like, okay, it's still in budget, but we might, same as the Science Museum, like it might be beneficial to do a ceremony elsewhere. But yeah, it's just like literally always been my dream. So we go and we meet the woman, and it's like, I didn't think it was gonna happen, so I didn't have my hopes up, but I was still excited to like see it in person. We talked to the lady, and she was really nice, and she's like showing us everything, and she asked if we wanted to do the ceremony and reception there, and I just explained to her like it kind of depends on how many hours we get. So I was like, if we're only getting like 4, 5, 6 hours, like that's just not enough time to do the ceremony and reception. And she told us that they recently changed their pricing to reflect having the space all day. So for 15 hours from 8 in the morning until 11 at night. I think that's 15 hours, and if it's not, sorry. But I think that's the time frame she gave me, so that's her fault then. So the prices then reflected that. So they have peak and off-peak pricing, which this is something too. None of the other venues had peak and off-peak pricing, only Main Street did. So their peak pricing on Fridays and Saturdays was $7,000, which is obviously out of budget. But their Sunday pricing was half price for the space that I wanted. And then they have a bigger space that holds like 2,000 people, and their peak pricing for that was like $14,000. I wanted to see the space because I was like, this has to be like the nicest space ever. It's just really, really big, and I can see why. I mean, obviously I understand why it's that expensive. I mean, it's huge. And she said what people do with that space is they section it into 3 parts. So they have a ceremony section, a cocktail section, and then like a reception section, which is kind of cool, but not worth $14,000. So what we chose to do was go with Main Street, and we chose to have it on a Sunday. So we did the off-peak pricing, so we got it half off of like the peak pricing, which was awesome because it was in budget. They like, it's just like, I didn't think Main Street was gonna work, even though it was my dream and I wanted it so bad, but everything like fell into place with them because they're letting us bring our own alcohol. We're allowed to bring our own food at no extra cost, no extra fees. Another thing I had too was I was unsure how they were gonna do like where the ceremony and reception was gonna be if we had it in the same place, but they said that they will break down the ceremony space and turn it into a reception space, and I just have to tell them like how to decorate it pretty much. And they'll do that during the cocktail hour when we're taking pictures, so like another box checked. So pretty much every problem we thought we might run into with them, they're like, we just didn't. And we went back and forth because the Montpelier Center was very, very cheap, and it would have been nice to save that extra money, but I just think that that money would have gone straight into decorations, because I mean, it was to the point where we also needed to rent our own tables and chairs because like they were so dingy. It was like those old foldable like metal chairs, so we would have had to rent all of that stuff. And I think that it really would have added up to probably being about the same price as any of our other venues. So I emailed the woman at Main Street and told her what date we wanted and that we obviously chose them, and now I'm just waiting to hear back from her to get the contract and sign it. So hopefully, I'm just a worrier, so I'm hoping that everything works out with this venue, like, because she said that like the price, there's also like some fees on top of it, and I assume like that's just tax, because I don't know, like, we're doing everything ourselves, so it's not like, and she said that there were no fees for like bringing our own caterers and blah blah blah. So I'm assuming the fees are just going to be like probably a 10% tax or something, which is fine. I'm just like, I don't know why in my mind I'm freaking out and thinking it's going to be like thousands more. It's just me hoping that everything works out. But yeah, so we picked a date and everything, and if everything works out, I'll announce the date when it's official. But yeah, so we picked the venue, and from there I was able to start like really thinking about some other things. We're having an engagement party in a couple weeks, so I made some cool things for that. I have a big sign that I made, and hopefully I can like video everything. We're doing this big arch because we figured that we can use it for a couple of things. So we're gonna do an arch with like flowers and stuff, and I'm really into like eucalyptus and then like white roses, so we're probably gonna do eucalyptus and white roses all around it. Maybe do some sort of like draping, like not a sheet, but whatever, something like that. And then we can use that for the engagement party, I can use it for my bridal shower, and we can use it for our wedding arch. So I think it'll be multifunctional, so it'll definitely get its use. So yeah, I think that that's a good idea. We have a lot of decorations for the party. I think I've picked out my bridesmaids dresses. Like, I'm definitely getting ahead of myself on some things, but I just like, when there's nothing, I can't really do anything more until I'm like 100% yes, we have the venue, it's ours, these are all the things that come with it, and they're yours. I can't really do much else. So this week when she sends the contract and hopefully everything's good, then we can go with the caterer, because we think we've picked out a caterer too, because it's a really good option, and they have a pie bar. So that's saving us money on a wedding cake, because we're just gonna do a small wedding cake. Well, hopefully this caterer works out. We're gonna try the food and everything, but we're just gonna do like a small wedding cake like for us to have, and then we're gonna do the pie bar for dessert. I don't think anything about this wedding is going to be traditional, and our families are quaking at the thought of how untraditional we're being, but that's okay. I think it really fits both of our personalities very well. So I have talked for a long time. God, I have so much more to say. I'll try and keep it brief, and I'll just end off the video with kind of some stressors, but also like not trying to stress. So the only thing that I'm really worried about is the fact that I don't have a lot of close girlfriends. I feel like I've always been the type of person that once I detach myself from like a certain aspect of my life, I just like lose touch with the people too. Like, I made really good friends when I worked at a restaurant before I started my full-time job after college, but after I left, like, I just didn't talk to those girls anymore. And then when I started my full-time job, I made a bunch of good friends, but it's like once we all got put on our separate shifts, like, honestly no one reached out to me. It's like I tried to like insert myself and like talk to them, but they all just kind of like stopped talking to me and then continued to hang out with each other, which was hurtful. But we digress. Obviously, I've talked about in my videos before, I didn't retain any friends from like the shifts that I worked on because I had a miserable experience. And then in school, with school mostly being online, I've really only made like 1 or 2 friends, and I'm thinking about asking one of those friends to be in the wedding, but I'm just like, I just don't really have a lot of close friends like I guess I once did in maybe high school and college. And my fiance wants to have 6 or 7 people in his wedding party, and it's just difficult because I don't know who I'm gonna ask. Like, I have 3 people for sure, the 4th being the girl from school, but after that I legitimately have no idea, because it's just like, I feel like I have people that I could ask, but it's like, do I really want those people in my wedding? But then on the other hand, I'm like, doesn't really matter that much who's in your wedding. Like, if you're friends at the time, then shouldn't matter. But I have no idea. So that's like the only thing I'm worried about. But I'm trying to have a stress-free wedding planning go around, because everyone says it's so stressful, and I just don't think wedding planning should be stressful. I want it to be fun, and I don't want this fun time. Like, wedding planning is fun. Like, I'm having so much fun right now, just like touring and seeing everything and booking, and it's just been so much fun, and I don't want to lose sight of how enjoyable it is and just become stressed by it. I just want it to be a good time, because I don't want to look back and be like, I should have had more fun planning my freaking wedding, and like get so burnt out that by the wedding I'm just like over it and I don't even enjoy that. So I just want it to be stress-free. So I guess the only thing I'm really quote-unquote worried about is the bridesmaid thing, but I don't know, I kind of feel like it'll be okay and it'll work out. The wedding's not going to be for a little over a year, so I mean, school's fully in person next year. I imagine I'm probably going to make some friends. I don't have to ask all of my bridesmaids right now. I think I'm just going to ask the people that I want to ask right now and see what happens after that. So yeah, that is my long proposal wedding details video. There's so much more to come. I'm doing a lot, so I'm excited to share more. So I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.